So Mayor Shelly Petrolia is only the second woman to be elected mayor in Delray Beach's history. She's a Palm Beach County native who's lived and worked in Delray Beach for more than 25 years. She served on the city commission for 5 years before deciding to run for mayor in March 2018, and this is her second term as mayor. She holds a Bachelor of Science degree from Florida State University, but we won't hold that against her. And she's got a double major in finance and risk management insurance. She's the co-owner of a real estate business with her husband, Tony, and together they're raising, count them, four boys in Delray Beach. So Mayor, with that, I'm going to hand it over to you. I've asked her here to talk a little bit about the city planning session that took place last month, and a little bit, and give us the inside scoop on the new city manager that the city's hired. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Shelly.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much for that great introduction. And yeah, go Knowles. But I might have another one of my kids going in a different direction. So I've got 3 Knowles right now with me, and one more that is contemplating Florida. So it might be a split family. You got it. And I look forward to that because, of course, anytime the Knowles aren't playing, I'm rooting for the team in Florida. Let's start off with the city manager because, in the experience that I've had in this, as sitting as a commissioner and also as a mayor, one of the most important positions, obviously, in the city is the COO, which is our chief operating officer, which would be our city manager. Many people don't understand that the mayor does not run the town. And as many times I say that, I can say it until I'm blue in the face, people aren't going to believe it and trust it because they're mostly coming from areas where city mayors do run towns, but our city is different. And as are many of the cities along the coast here. So our city manager is most important because that is he is at the helm of making sure that all the operations are running well. And we have had such a change up in that seat since I've been in, that obviously we need some stability there in order to be able to make sure that our future is bright as our town is, because our town seems to do very well no matter what and who is at the helm. It just seems to be the greatest town on the Eastern Seaboard from my perspective. So we did a search differently this time because a lot of the commissioners, including Commissioner Frankel, who has been there longer, actually been sitting on the dais longer than I have by 1 year, if you can imagine that. Anyway, we decided not to go down the route of hiring a firm to find our city manager. That expense is roughly around $50,000, but we were hoping that internally, by going through this process, that we would be able to find a better fit for Delray Beach. There are great managers out there. Sometimes they just don't fit our city. So in going through that process, I found it to be much smoother. I found it to be more in tune with what we were looking for as far as city managers. We came up with 4 finalists. And I would have to tell you, out of the 4, 3 ended up going forward. 1 ended up dropping out. Out of the 4, I think we could have picked any of them and been in very good shape. We also did something a little different this time around, and we impaneled a citizen group to be also like almost the, if you will, 6th city commissioner. And what they did was they asked a lot of questions. There were 10, I believe, of the citizens, and then spoke with us afterwards, giving us their input, which was really great because they were part of that process. And then staff also had played a role. They got very involved. They had a big tour, and then they had a luncheon where they had invited the directors from all the different areas in our town to sit with each of these city managers, and the city managers moved from table to table, which was really nice to be able to ask questions. And you were even involved. There were some of our partners were brought in to be on that panel, which I thought was really fantastic. So we did have a much wider group that were giving input and feedback on the process. And, Terrence Moore is going to be our next city manager, and he was selected unanimously, which I thought was probably one of the best things that happened, because when you bring somebody in with a split vote, even if it's a 4-1 vote, it doesn't give that person the confidence that they really have the backing of the commission. And we've had that happen several times over in the past. So we're starting off on the right foot, I think. The entire process, thank you to the city and their staff and HR, was extremely smooth, as much as I think some people had hoped that it wouldn't be. It was, and I think that we came up with a great person to take over. Mr. Moore will be starting sometime in early August, I believe. Maybe it was the 2nd or the 3rd, and he's going to also be here next week during our meeting. So he's going to make some comments, I believe. So if anybody has not met Terrence and wanted to tune in next week, we start our meeting at 4:00 in the afternoon. Just tune in, and if you don't see him then, you can always watch the feedback. But we have got great high hopes, and I think he's going to really make us proud, and I think he's going to be a great leader. He's got some extremely good experience. He was probably one of the best when you looked at the profiles on each of them. He really came with a tremendous strong backing. He has longevity in towns. He's worked from, he just had finished up College Park in Georgia, which is actually where I didn't know this, but the Atlanta airport is not in Atlanta, it is in College Park. So he actually was the city manager for that area of the town. He also worked in Morgantown, West Virginia, which I spent some time there, and I told him I wouldn't hold that against him. And anyway, and then also before that was Las Cruces, New Mexico. So he has a great history of and longevity in each of these places. He worked 5 years in Las Cruces, and another, I believe it was 3 years or so in Morgantown, and then he was from 2013 to 2021 in College Park. And before that, interestingly enough, he started in Deerfield Beach. So he has some background in, I think he was assistant city manager in Deerfield Beach before he got called out to Las Cruces. So he has some history of being in Florida and doing some government, he has some, career history in Florida as well. So that's great. And on our coast. So that brings me to the state of the city and economic development and the CIP projects. And really, I think what you were asking me to do is to go over what we were talking about during our goal setting meetings. And we had a couple of days of meeting together. And I'm sorry that didn't take place after our city manager it was in place. But, we try to do these goal setting meetings in accordance with our budgeting, because again, we're in the process of trying to figure out where the money is going to be going in the future. So we have to figure out where it is that we want to spend that money. And one of the top priorities of the city was our water treatment plant. And that came out not only in the questionnaires that they gave us, but also during the exchange between the commission and staff. So water treatment plant is on the top of the list to try to start rolling that ball forward. Our water treatment plant it's doing a great job. Don't get me wrong. It's not in any way failing us, but there are new technologies since 50 years ago that we can employ that will make our water look cleaner. And also there are now chemicals that everybody is concerned about. And this is not just to Delray Beach, it's across our state that are in the groundwater that we're pulling up that our water treatment plant does not take out. So we want to look for ways to be able to move our water treatment plant, not only to produce better quality water, but also in the future. And in the process of this whole water treatment plant debate that was happening during the campaign. And I'm so glad that the campaign happened this year too, because you learn so much from people when you're out there talking and knocking doors as to what it is that people are finding, untenable or that need improvement. And water kept coming up. It was one of those situations, and that people were filling their tubs up. And I'll tell you, in 1992, I filled mine up, and it looks the same as it does today. So things have not changed. And I did call in to see if the water was safe. It was considered safe at that point in time. So said the director back then. But again, I think that our expectation has changed, and we're able to do more things with water today to treat it that we couldn't do back when it was first, thought to, when the water treatment plant was brought about. And by the way, the water treatment plant is not necessarily going to just go away. It's functioning, it's working well. There's probably going to be just add-ons to that water treatment plant. And as we move down the path, one of the things that I discovered that nobody's really even talking about is the amount of pharmaceuticals that are finding their way into our water. And there is no extracting that out of the water. And it's not about people flushing down the pharmaceuticals only. It's also about people who are on medication that use the restroom. And then again, everything kind of like cycles around. So everything that's going through people go eventually into that water supply system eventually. So we have to be thinking about that as well. We can't just be thinking about the PFASs and some of the forever chemicals. We have to also wonder, how are these pharmaceuticals coming through our tap water eventually going to be affecting us? So those are some things that we are thinking about and moving forward, because again, when you're doing something today, you want to always be thinking about the future. How in the world do you worry about what's going to be happening in the future? IT was a big issue that came up, and it was a second thing on our projects list. We need to really beef up our IT department in Delray Beach. Now, I can tell you, being sitting on this commission for the last 8 years, I'm not an IT expert at all. I rely heavily on what the IT department would tell us what we needed. And in the past, unfortunately, the things that we were told didn't really come to fruition. We spent a lot of money on things that previous IT departments with different directors, said that we needed. So we have spent a lot of money and not seen a lot come back. We still have green screen technology in the city. I can't understand that, but that is absolutely the case. So we have to get out of that and into, a more advanced system across the board in order to be able to provide the services and to our constituents and our taxpayers that are expected. I expect that. Certainly, I don't expect to have bills coming in to my house for water that is saying that I owe $5,000, and that's happening in my town, and it shouldn't be happening. So IT was high on the list. Then we also moved into some other areas. Pompey Park is something that we have been moving forward with, but this was high on the list, so it came in at number 3 as a project that we want to see done, and we want to see it done quicker than the whole 5-year plan. I know that our neighboring city, and they did it with P3 assistance, but our neighboring city to the north basically built a town hall in 18 months with a police department. And they did that in 18 months. So to me, I think that we can do things a little bit quicker than what has been in the past, because people just don't have the time or the interest to waiting that long. Going on, we have police and city hall buildings that are needed. So those were that was the 4th on the list. City hall is just so antiquated. I mean, it was an older city hall that was just added on. I know that it looks newer, but it was just kind of like encapsulated, if you will, with a newer section and second story. But it is really just, we've grown out of it, and it's pretty antiquated. So, and the police department as well, they're talking about adding on the back side of the police department. So they're going to add additional space. They just are out of space over there. And then a couple more with the golf course. Again, that's always been on the issue on the list, but it seems like it always seems to fail to get anything done. Lot has to do with the fact that there's a lot of infrastructure underneath the golf course, so we've got to have the money to do the infrastructure before we actually do the top of the golf course. I'm talking about the big municipal golf course. And that's going to require tens of millions of dollars to do that infrastructure. So that's been the holdup. It's not the golf course. It's so much as it's what's underneath, because you don't want to do what's on top and then have to, take it all up to do what's underneath. So that has been the holdup, but we've got that at like maybe the fifth or so CIP project. And then we've got the waste treatment plant, which actually is already in the process. So I don't even need to talk about that. We have to take care of our waste in different ways than what was done in the past by, I think it's 2025, if I'm not mistaken. So the old outfall off of the into the ocean, the old days, that's not acceptable anymore. I know, I can't even believe that was actually happening, but anyway, it was. So we're going to be working on making sure that we are able to take care of that by the time that the government is requiring the municipalities to handle a certain, I guess it's how many millions of gallons on a per day basis. Then we went into, that was the projects, and we went into the policies being things that the city, what we're looking at going forward. There's a downtown overlay that we've talked about. We really want to keep the charm of our town the way that it is. We don't want to see that change tremendously and just kind of morph into another city. We have our own unique feel. And so that's really important and high on the list of a lot of the commissioners and also a lot of our constituency. So we're talking about doing some sort of an overlay down there. And the trees, we are also, that was a big issue, how to, put more canopy trees in our town so that we can work with, obviously changing climates and helping to cool the town. So that was another issue. And then it went into youth programming. We don't have enough. And that kind of really rolled over from 2020, I believe, because everything went away in 2020 and not a lot came back quick enough. Give you an example. I know we're under the gun right now with where's the fireworks? Where's the fireworks? Because a lot of people come to Delray for the fireworks. We had to make those plans back in March. And if everybody remembers back in March, they were starting to, inoculate the senior population, and there wasn't enough. And I was getting calls, where can you get me? Where can I get them? And it was like this crazy frenzy. Well, at that point in time, we were also being asked, do we want to do a big 4th of July? Nobody on that panel of the commissioners felt comfortable saying, yeah, we want to do that in July, because we were being told at that point in time, it was going to take us all the way to the end of the year to get everybody inoculated. Now it looks like if people would just go in and get it done, we could actually get it done in a matter of a month, but nobody really understood that. And the supply and demand was all messed up at that point in time. So back in March, we had to make that decision as to whether or not we were going to host 100,000 people in our city. And we had to say no. And if we didn't make that decision, then there was no way we could get ready for it, because it's a huge undertaking. And I'm going to tell you something. I know, I see you smiling, Stephanie, you know better than anybody what it takes to put together those types of events. So we made that decision, and unfortunately we can't pivot just because everything is now in a different situation. And boy, I would love to do that, but we can't. It's too much. So there's going to be 2 undisclosed locations in the city that the fireworks are going off. Enjoy it. Sorry, next year we'll have a big celebration.
Wait, can I say something quickly? They're going to be going, what we heard from Nan on Delray Morning Live, there'll be one set east of 95 and one set west of 95, correct?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's important for people to know so they don't all rush, try to come down this way. They can.
Wait a second. I don't know if they're east and west of 95. I've heard that there's an east and a west location. So that's where it starts and ends with my knowledge. And I'm going to be honest, I think that if I could probably squeeze it out of someone somewhere, but I don't want to know, because then everybody's asking me and I have to lie, or, I just would rather not know. I mean, I want to stay out of that. So anyway, but like I've told everybody, listen, driving around, you're going to probably figure out where it is, day before, 2 days before. They're probably just saying. So anyway, yes, there should be visibility from almost every area in town, as long as you're in a clear area. So hopefully that's the case. And then, of course, we didn't talk about it, but we talked about at the very front end of this very briefly about the new building assessments. We are seeing what unfortunately happened a week ago, or a little over a week ago now, to those poor souls in Surfside, and my heart goes out to everyone there. I mean, it's just devastating. I can barely watch the news. I think that we are fortunate that we don't have as many high rises here. However, right now our building, our lead building official is working with the county in order to determine what we locally can do within rules, laws, and not overreach to make sure that people in Delray Beach are safe. So we're moving forward on that as well, and that's one of the policies that we'll be probably talking about and seeing in the not so distant future. And finally, they went into some capacity issues. Some of the things that came up with safety issues, especially for employees. I guess there are some safety issues with people that are irate in Delray Beach coming in occasionally. So we put an officer on our campus so that they can make sure that nothing really happens. And then there was a consistent enforcement in codes. That's a question. I know that we have gotten people feeling that there are certain areas that they don't really do a lot of code enforcement, and other areas they're almost overzealous. So we want to really see some consistency there. And then trying to get our city into complete paperless. Well, that's the IT part of this. We got to first get out of the green screen technology, and then maybe we can get over to doing things a little bit more in that paperless area. But we've really got to kind of move into the 21st century. That's really important. So I'm really excited to be sitting in this position, watching as we are moving towards, again, getting things done at the top of the list. And we've done a lot, I mean, it's not like the city has not done anything for the last 8 years. I don't have a list of the things that we've done, but it's pretty formidable. And I would like to end it on a high note and going out and leaving this town in a much better space than when I came in. And that's kind of what I've tried to do, with everything that I do. So anyway, I didn't know if there was any questions, or if, pretty much that's what you were looking for. But if you have any, feel free. And thank you so much for having me on. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you, Mayor.
Michael? Go ahead, David.
I just did want to extend our thanks to the mayor for what a wonderful report, and it's great to see you, Mayor. And we look forward to further updates in the fall from you.
You got it. We're actually going to reinstall doing some town halls. That was another thing that came up during our goal setting meeting, and I think that it's important that we do those. So that's probably where you see the next kind of update like this. Maybe we'll have even a little bit more.
Terrific. Thank you, Mayor.
You're very
Have
welcome.
a great weekend. Enjoy the holiday.
And you as well.
Say hello to Tony.
I will.
Wait, do we have any questions? We have some people on the call, and I know they're also on Facebook. So does anyone have any questions? You've got the mayor right here. Here's your chance.
It's Mike Caruso, if I could chime in. Just wanted to thank the mayor for all of our hard work. I'm glad to see the refocus on the water and the water treatment in the city of Delray Beach. I live here too. It's part of my district, and so lived here, I guess, 36 years now. So good to see that we're focusing on that. And if I could just mention that, in the Florida House, we had, when COVID came up, we created the Pandemic and Public Emergency Committee, and that to deal with the COVID issue. And that committee is now shifting its focus from COVID to situations like Surfside and issues like sea level rise. So the Speaker of the House yesterday, Speaker Sprouse, put out a request as to who wanted to be on that committee. So I put in to be on that committee in hopes of being able to deal with the issues like Surfside and buildings falling down. I remember back in 20 years ago in New Smyrna Beach, there was a condominium called the Sandpiper. And they had their balconies were scheduled to be replaced because the inspection showed that they were failing because of the rebar popping and all. And when they got into doing the balconies, they realized that the entire structure was compromised. And they ended up having to assess people over $200,000 each on a condominium that was worth about maybe $300,000 each. And so it changed a lot of people's lives. A lot of people had to sell and move out. And so we do have to come up with answers to these issues. You know, I was down in Surfside the week before the building collapsed, and at the Jewish shul that is there, presenting, I guess the governor was there signing one of my bills that dealt with, that gave Petrolia, which was a volunteer ambulance service, the right to operate in the state of Florida. And who would know that about 5 days later, Petrolia itself was on the scene, you know, trying to help those and rescue those that had been fallen victim to the structural collapse down there. So that's one of my little puppies. Anyway, just want to say hi to everybody and thank you again, Mayor. Good job on that. And you mentioned one thing, pharmaceuticals in our water. It's a big problem. I'm trying to deal with it at the state level. I had a bill last year that didn't make it through, but it called for co-dispensing of pharmaceuticals. When you get them, co-dispensing means they'd be a neutralizing agent in the cap of the pharmaceutical bottle of your prescription. And when you were done with the pharmaceutical, instead of just throwing it down the toilet or throwing it in the trash can, because it still works into our water system if you throw it in the trash, you'd add a little bit of water to the vial and shake it up, and it would automatically neutralize those medications so that they don't get into our water system as a volatile agent. So that's it. Just want to say, wish everybody a very happy 4th of July. I think we're gonna have good weather on Sunday, which is gonna be great, and then we got to buckle down for a tropical storm on Monday or Tuesday. So be safe and enjoy the 4th. God bless y'all.
Thanks, Mike. So who's taking over? Michael, David, for our guest speakers?
It doesn't matter, but why don't we go right to Renee?
Yeah.
Renee from the CRA, are you still here?
I saw Renee.
Hello.
You there,
Okay,
Renee?
Renee.
Go ahead.
Hi.
Yes. Hi. How are you? All right. So from the CRA, we have a board meeting coming up on July 15th at 2 p.m. is our workshop, and then we have our regular meeting at 4. The schedule is a little bit different for the summertime, so just wanted to make sure that everybody is aware of that. And then our August meeting is August 31st. So, and then we'll go back to the 4th Tuesday of every month after that, starting in September. So I wanted to take this time just to highlight our grant programs. I know it's kind of like a hidden gem that people don't really talk about. Some people know who know it's great. We actually just did a look back about 2 years at how much funds that we have expended and awarded in our community, and it's about $650,000. So it's a substantial number, and these are all in business grants that we're giving for build out design services. So we really want to highlight that and make sure people know that these resources are available. So for businesses, I'm just going to list the programs, and if you know anyone or yourselves would need any assistance from us, please contact us. We have a project consultancy and design service program. This provides up to $15,000 for design services, and we'll pay 100% of that $15,000 for the design costs. We also have site assistance program that provides partial assistance for interior and exterior improvements. And depending on the sub area that you're in our district, that's either up to $50,000 or $75,000. And also we have a paint up and signage grant. And I think some people on this call, we're working with them on some of these programs. The paint up and signage helps with interior painting and signage on the exterior of your buildings. and we pay up to 50% or $5,000 of the cost. Also, we have a rent subsidy program, and this is partial assistance for 12 months of rent up to $6,000. So really, really great programs. This is to encourage new businesses to move or come into Delray Beach. And in the last, I'd say like 6 months, we've seen at least 3 or 4 of these come through. And I know in prior years we hadn't. So I think that means the word's getting out, people are coming here, people are moving, and businesses are happening. So I feel like when we spend funds in this area, that means our economy is rolling and moving. So really excited about that. And for residential, just do a quick plug, we have a curb appeal program that provides up to $15,000 for homes in the Northwest Southwest neighborhood to eliminate slum and blighted conditions. And we're also ramping up funding for this. In prior years, we were spending up to $75,000. A couple years back, we doubled that to $150,000. And I just received an invoice from the city for $150,000. So that means the money is being spent and these things are rolling. You may not see it right away, but it's happening. So just wanted to share that information, and thank you guys. Happy 4th of July. See you all soon. Thanks.
Thank you, Renee. And I just want to add that Pineapple Grove is the recipient of one of your sign grants. Thank you very much. And your grant and the grant from the DDA is going to help Pineapple Grove move Delray Camera Mural, the Observer, to its new location, hopefully by the end of fall. Thank you again. Oh, Renee, I have a question. Maybe you or maybe the mayor can answer. What's going on with 3rd Avenue streetscape?
Oh, wait, can't hear you, Renee. That's weird.
Hold on. Oh, hello? Hello?
Got you.
Oh, there we go. Okay, gotcha. So yes, and David, I also wanted to mention that for the mural project that you all will be moving into the Arts Warehouse. So we're doing I think about a few months to help restore those panels, and it'll be open for people to come and see, kind of like a restoration program. So more to come on that. But as far as the infrastructure in Northeast 3rd area, we approved an ILA with the city a couple months back for $1.8 million. And the city then entered into a contract with a contractor to do those improvements. So there was an outreach meeting a couple weeks ago. There will be one coming up in a few weeks at the Arts Warehouse. So that's also moving along. I know it's been a long time coming. It's gone through several renditions, but I think that this one it's funded and there is a contractor. So you will see something happening there. So definitely look out for those outreach meetings. And most of them will try and do at the warehouse since it's close to where it's impacting the businesses in that district.
And
That's good.
basically, on the CIP project, streets were one of the top priorities as well. But because of the fact that we've got, we're in the process of doing many of those streets that basically, I didn't mention it because you can see it happening across town, Northwest, Southwest communities, old Lake Ida area. We've got a bunch of things happening. 10th is going to now be done from Dover Street all the way with bike paths and pedestrian walking all the way from Dover, which is west of Congress for anybody who's not aware, to Federal Highway. So it's happening across town, and you're going to see in the next few years just a lot of places change because we've had that in the process, and it's now starting to rise up to where we are ready to go. We're funded and ready to go with them. So it's exciting.
David looks frozen, so I'm going to take over. I don't know what
Terrific.
happened
Any other
there.
questions for Renee?
Yeah, there we go.
Duncan Tavares, Assistant City Manager.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Duncan.
Thank you for having me. It's a hard act to follow when you have the mayor and then Renee. So who do I speak to about that? Obviously, the mayor is giving a very eloquent and succinct update on matters that we're addressing here within the city. As many of you know, we're in the thick of formulating the budget for next year. So that's occupying a lot of staff time to get something to present to the commission. Now, on that note, we have changed the upcoming dates for city commission meetings. They're earlier as they were last month. So the commission will actually meet on their first budget workshop on Tuesday, sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself. So we have a regular commission on Tuesday, the 6th. And then the following week is when we have the budget workshop with the commission, followed by the second monthly commission meeting. So it's a little different this time around. And I know a lot of you follow those meetings or attend. So I just wanted to make sure you knew of those. And I guess the bearer of bad news would be me. You need to please be aware, obviously, of Tropical Storm Elsa. We met yesterday to talk about preliminary planning from an EOC perspective. If things ramp up with that storm, and if, you know, in case the cone of uncertainty moves towards us. So we are watching that very closely and meeting a couple of times a day. You know, our challenge is if it speeds up and comes over the weekend, it's harder to reach everyone. Our team is on standby, so internally, we're not concerned about that, but reaching all of you to make sure you need to make your preparations is a concern of us, and we will keep you updated as best we can as that unfolds over the weekend. And I think that pretty much wraps
Okay,
up. it for
thank you,
me.
Duncan. There are no questions for Duncan. Let's go to Mavis Benson at DDA.
Hey everyone, and apologies for Laura, but thank you for letting me sit in her place. Just as the commission had their planning session, we just recently had our goal setting session for the upcoming year. We're really proud of how our downtown is doing at this time. Last year at this time, we thought that we could be experiencing a large number of vacancies, but we actually went from, I think, around our highest point of vacancies was up above 60, and now I think we're down to around 30. Most of those being on the beach side and also in Pineapple Grove, where there's construction going on. I feel that this really says a lot about the part that everyone plays in with making things happen in our city. And we're so proud to be a part with everyone assisting in this. We're excited about what's ahead as we're planning events throughout the year, highlighting all of our different neighborhoods throughout the downtown. We've been hearing a lot about the desire to bring back some of the events that people have loved and enjoyed in the past. I think that's a sign of the times that we really want to enjoy again and embrace those things that made us feel good and gave good memories. So art and jazz is one worth revisiting and reinventing, which we're looking at now. We're also excited about a new activity that everyone will really enjoy. Our art trail is going to be a great way for locals and visitors to work their way around throughout the city and enjoy. We've long been known as an artsy community, and with art walks combined with the art trail, we think will exceed any art enthusiast expectations. At recent meetings with retail merchants and restaurants, we've been happy to learn that it seems most everybody is exceeding numbers that they were doing prior to COVID. Our hotels are reporting actually climbing numbers and occupancy rates, which is most encouraging. So we'll continue with our robust tourism marketing plan with hope of continuing to bring visitors to our downtown, strengthening the economic impact in our town for our stakeholders. I also want to remind you that this weekend, I know there's a big event going on at Pompey Park. So we encourage everyone to enjoy that. And after so doing, remember that throughout our downtown, we have our Sparktacular sidewalk sale taking place. So after you visited the park, come downtown, all around downtown, and see what the merchants have to offer. We're going to have music throughout the downtown. So it's going to be a festive weekend. And with all our positive energy and attention, Duncan, we're going to shift that storm way out to the east so it goes out to sea and nobody has to experience anything. So thank you for always being there, and our partners, and please let us know whatever we can do to be of help.
Thank you, Mavis. Boy, I knew the DDA was powerful, but moving storms, wow, you've really come a long way.
We try.
So let's go to the Developmental Services Planning and Zoning, Elizabeth Issa. Good morning, Elizabeth.
Hi, good morning.
Elizabeth?
Hi, sorry, good morning. Development Services, I'm just about to send you guys over my little sheet with the applications that we're working on. We had Chick-fil-A submit an application, the Chick-fil-A on Federal Highway, 1800 South Federal Highway. They're going to try to reconfigure their drive-through, add a bypass lane, and try to improve the drive-through situation. And we had a submittal for a townhouse project on Northeast 8th Avenue. It's a 3-unit townhouse development called Lynn Townhomes. At a conditional use request for a private educational facility on Swinton Avenue, the Cocoa Plum Nature Center, and also a conditional use request for a privately operated parking lot for Greico over on 15 Southeast 10th Street. So those are the projects that have been submitted and reviewed by the board since I last updated you. So that's about all I have to say.
Oh, I
Thank
have a
you,
quick,
thank you.
I
Any
have a quick city, sorry, David, I have a quick city announcement that I just wanted to launch in there. On July 20th, there's going to be a public parking meeting from 8:30 to 11 and 5:30 to 7:30 on the 20th. And it's going to actually be here at the chamber. So the public's welcome to, come in and hear what's going on with parking and obviously give their opinion on things. So that's going to be happening on July 20th.
Okay, let's go to Jackie Ramirez from SBDC. Jackie, are you still there? No, we'll come
You're
back to
muted, Jackie. You're muted.
All right. Let's start over. Thank you. Thank you for having me. And Renee, what I was saying is I wanted to thank you because I've had a number of clients come through that have been, I've matched up with Alexina, and they're getting funding for opening up, painting, awnings, all of that. And it's really been a pleasure to be able to offer them that. Elsa, we know, is coming through, and of course I need to mention something regarding that, because if an emergency is declared by the state, then the SBDC becomes the go-to for the small businesses here. So please, the one thing I can say to you in preparation for that is to please get your financial documents on a thumb drive. You could do it now, even if Elsa doesn't come through, or up into the cloud, so you're not looking for paper. And because it's not a pandemic, we'll be able to take individuals in here to get you set up for those applications here at the chamber. We did do some research I've been putting together some numbers. We were able to get our headquarters to provide me a report focused solely on Delray Beach. This is the first. We've had to dig into a number of channels to get numbers previously. But what we've seen over the last 5 years since we've been here, the reports are coming through that we've done close to, let's see, make sure I have the right report here, $2.5 million in capital formation, which includes loans, grants, all of that. And not surprisingly, if I look at just the pandemic from March to March, 1.4 of that was in helping businesses get themselves settled and up to speed again. The sales impact over the 5 years is 18 million. We send out a survey every year and ask business owners to tell us how we've impacted their ability to grow their business. So that's 18 million. And not surprisingly, over the pandemic, that dropped to about 300,000. But that is starting to turn again, and we should be able to see a lot of growth here on our part in helping you here in the city maintain its economic advantage. So I just wanted to share those numbers with you and tell you again that I'm really pleased to be here and to be working with all of you and helping the businesses grow.
Hey, and Jackie, I was always impressed when you were
Okay.
doing your numbers for the A guide, that when we talked about the businesses that the SBDC helped in the past year, 117 of them were in the CRA district. So I think that's a really good return on investment for the CRA. You helped a lot of businesses in this town. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Let's go to Michael Corbett.
Good morning. Thank you. And Stephanie in the chamber, thanks for keeping everybody connected through this trying times. It's great to see everybody. We're going to have a jobs report from the Department of Labor today. We expect that to be very positive. We do have a lot of jobs in Palm Beach County. We have about 2,700 open and available part-time and full-time jobs. So if you know anybody, please tell them to look for a job if they're not employed. The other thing I would like to say is the fact that the chamber is looking to do a job fair at the end of July. I think we have a lot of partners that want to help with that, so keep your eye out for that. And I would like to thank Kay Johnson's in the library. We have a staff resource there every Thursday. The fellow speaks English, Spanish, and Creole, so he's able to help just about any population in Delray Beach. So thanks, Kay, for that. And that concludes my update.
Okay, don't kill me. I'm jumping
Okay.
in again. I know. I'm sorry, David. I have to do this. So speaking of the job fair, it's not the chamber, actually, it's the city, the CRA, the DDA, and the chamber working together. And I see Sarah Maxfield on that. It's not for sure yet, but the city is going to be the one that's actually fronting the money to do it. So Sarah, do you want to give them a preview
Yeah,
of what
sure.
we're thinking of doing?
That was actually not ready for public prime time.
I know.
But thanks, Michael. You know, we are working together as a group. Just an economic development update, which will include, I was going to share minimum information, but I guess now I'll just go ahead and share it. You know, we are working very hard to address the immediate needs, and a lot of them that have come out of the pandemic. We had a really nice, robust conversation at the city goal setting about where we might go. And to that end, it was a much bigger conversation that needed to be had. And so we will be having a workshop that's tentatively scheduled for the September 14th meeting, where we will be discussing commission's priorities in the direction that they would like my department to go. Inevitably, in my years of experience with economic development, workforce is a major piece of that, and even more so today than it was 10 years ago, because the workforce availability will determine your business's success and the potential for other businesses to grow and expand in the region. So we really want to focus on that. And to that end, you know, Stephanie had brought this idea of a job fair and a platform that that a local company has that's internationally recognized and renowned. And so we are working diligently to try to put this together in short order to really respond to the needs of our local businesses and better matching the talent seekers, so the businesses, with the job seekers. And not only just putting this on, but providing some technical support to both sides of that so that they feel comfortable in the platform and the way that it works. It's really quite extraordinary. And once we have that completely fleshed out and have decided to essentially agree to move forward with it, which we're very close, we'll certainly, Stephanie can share with you kind of what that looks like and how it works. And we would love to call on all of you to help make that known. And, you know, if this is successful, you know, I hope to host, the city will host another one in the fall to get ready for season, to help our businesses get ready for season. So essentially workforce development and all that it entails will inevitably, I think, be a focus for our department coming, moving forward. We've been working really hard. I'm a one-person department right now, so I've been working really hard to connect with folks at the DDA, the CRA, the Chamber, other organizations, to understand, where their capacities lie, where they are really doing well in a space, to understand and to be able to help commission understand that there are certain pockets where we can plug in, where other organizations haven't already stepped in and are doing a wonderful job. So my main concern with a lot of this is I don't want to duplicate efforts from the city side, because there's so many other organizations are doing such a great job in a lot of these economic development spaces, but we need to plug in those gaps and those holes where those organizations, either it's not central to their mission or they just don't have the capacity to plug in. So that's my hope moving forward. First Steps Job Fair. Additionally, we will be engaging in a tourism marketing master plan, and funding that for the community so that we can pull in all the different partners and understand better how we can work together for a bigger, broader effect. So that being said, if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer as I can.
Any questions for Sarah? Okay, Kay Johnson is on the call, but she says she can't talk. She's multitasking, and she asked me to make a plug for the Delray Chamber Education Fund Educational Breakfast. This will be an in-person event. And if you remember, just 2 years ago in prior years, this event always gets sold out. So tickets will be going on sale very soon, $35. Tables are available. We're looking for sponsorships, and all the proceeds go to our public schools in Delray Beach. So please look for those announcements for tickets on sale and sponsorships soon. I think that's it for our city partners. Stephanie, we can open up for any other announcements from participants for the last few minutes remaining. Anybody want to make an announcement?
Well, I'm good. I can tell you what's going to happen, what's coming up for our First Friday Forum for the rest of the year. We've got all of our speakers lined up, and it's a great lineup. So I think we have, there we go. Next month, we're going to hear from Wendy Sartori-Link. So she's the head of the Palm Beach County Board of Elections, and she's going to let us know what's happening with the state voting laws that just took place. So she'll give us an update on that. In September, it's back to school. So we'll hear from Dr. Donald Sonoy, the superintendent of the Palm Beach County School District. In October, Jorge Pesquera, who's the CEO of Discover the Palm Beaches, is going to give us an update of what's going on in the tourism industry and how summer went, which we know there is no down, season this year, which is really, really good news for our hospitality industry. In November, we're going to hear from Kelly Smallridge. She's the executive director of the BDB, the Business Development Board of Palm Beach County. And to wrap up the year, we're going to hear from our county commissioner and vice mayor of District 4, Commissioner Robert Weinroth. So it's a great lineup for the rest of the year. And for the rest of the month, last month, I think, was Menon Month, and this year is Mayor Petrolia Month, because she's going to be a special guest at a Focus on Women event we have coming up. So let me just tell you quickly what's happening in the month of July at the Chamber. I'm just going to mention the Focus on Women again. Amanda Perna is going to host a panel of women business leaders, and the subject is empowering emerging leaders. So Mayor Petrolia is going to be one of our guests, as well as Kate Bowman, who's the CEO of Floyd Consulting, and our sponsor for the First Friday Forum, which is FPL. We're going to hear from Sophia Eccleston again, and it's going to be at the mezzanine at the Delray Beach Market. It's $25 a person, but you get a $15 gift card for lunch there, plus a book from Michael Kelly, who is the founder of Floyd Consulting. So it's a really good deal. Also, something I'm really excited about is the Tourism Summit. We were able to secure the CEO of Visit Florida, which is Dana Young, and the CEO of the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association, which is Carol Dover. It's a Zoom call, and they're going to give us an update on what's going on in the tourism industry. And we'll also hear from Discover the Palm Beaches on statistics on what's happening this summer in tourism. So please sign up and tune in for that. We've got to thank our sponsors for that. That's Hotels at Sea, Coulter Hospitality, and Effective are making this happen. We normally don't have contacts and cocktails in July, but everybody seems to want to get out. So we're going to have a great one on July 15th at the Seagate Hotel at the Atlantic Grill. So that's July 15th. We also have the Health and Wellness Council. We have this every other month. We're going to hear from Dr. Safransky. Everybody knows him from the Condi Center. And even if you're not in the health and wellness sector, you must go because it's held at Inspired Living. They have a fabulous space. They have a fabulous breakfast, and everything that the speakers talk about is really accessible to everybody. So it's very useful if you're interested in health and wellness in any way, you must come to that. That's on July 20th. The young professionals are going to have a social at Silver Ball on July 28th, and we're going to have a leads group and ambassadors and a general social for everybody on July 29th at Silver Ball. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And if you're a new member, or if you just want a refresher on all the great new things that we're doing at the Chamber, we've got new member orientation on July 29th. That's lunch here at the Chamber. So you're welcome to sign up if you want to hear what's going on. So that's all I've got. I think we're right on time.
Terrific. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you for the great job you've done here and for the past year and 2 years. So, and we're going to sign off for everybody to have a great and safe 4th of July weekend. Should be beautiful. So goodbye, everybody, and have fun.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks for joining us today. For everyone.